This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. This is for anyone who runs a business. Let's say you're responsible for a team. Let's say you're an executive too. Doesn't matter. If you want to up your game, become more successful in your personal life and also your professional life, it's time to get a coach. And we're going to talk with an amazing one, a leadership coach today. She's very different because she realizes that it comes from within. Yeah, we can give you a bunch of different exercises and principles and things to follow and all of that, but it really starts within, things you need to realize to win. And that is the name of her practice. I'm talking about Gayathri, Riddhi, who joins us on the program today. How are you doing?
Hi, Steve. I am doing well. You did such a fabulous job introducing me and what I stand for. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. And but most importantly for me was making sure I pronounced your name correctly. So I hope I got that right.
You did.
All right.
Thank you.
So I had a win today, one of many, but that's
multiple. Yes.
That was one of the most important ones.
Yes.
Let's talk about the people that you work with. You know,
Yes.
I got 5 people on the phone right now, and they're looking to make change. Who are these people?
So right now, I have a spectrum. So, and just as you set the stage for me, Steve, which is I support any individual who want to be leaders in life and leaders in their professional life. So anybody who is quite ready to start the journey of looking inwards and recognizing they're unique, the world that surrounds them is unique. So how they approach the world will depend on how they can be their best. That is the individual ready for coaching, and that's the individual ready for a conversation with me.
When you say approach the world, are we talking about the view that you have, your values, on life in the world?
It is, human beings are so complex, and we have from birth so many different elements that condition us to look at the world a certain way. And there are parts of us that we inherently differ in. And some of the times we just go with the flow of what the world asks us to be. So when I say that, I truly mean recognizing what makes us uniquely us, and then working with that to give the world the best of you.
When we talk about awakening, are we talking about and realize who we are, what's in us, because many of us don't realize what's actually in us, in our mind and all of that. And thank you for saying that we are so complex. Oh my gosh.
We are.
I have no regrets. There's a reason for everything in my belief. I should have taken psychology. I love it now. And it's never too late, but
it's never too late. And you don't have to take classes, Steve. Life teaches you everything you need to know.
well, I'm in class right now.
There you go. Everything you need to know. And yes, please go ahead. Keep asking.
I learn from people like you. So when it comes to realizing us, what makes us tick, if you will, is this a lot of things within our subconscious that we need to realize from childhood?
It's like you read my mind. So yes, you touched on a very interesting word, which is awakening, which is a very polarizing word, and it creates an element of fear in a lot of people. And I think awakening, and this is one of the reasons why I truly wanted to move into coaching, because there's so many concepts that is so nebulous that people don't know how to approach it, and it sounds so esoterical almost that they kind of dismiss it or find it too just off the wall, right? So truly awakening, if we keep that concept aside, if we can look at ourselves and go, what is it that holds us back? And if we are intentional in wanting to move forward and wanting to grow, in truly accommodating our own growth in a way that is not harming our mind, spirit, and body, and truly maximizing what the world is giving us, including lessons. So if we can look at everything as what is that giving us to become better for tomorrow? Because today, what we have is what makes us better for tomorrow. So that is how I even got to the point of realize the moment you realize that's your catalyst, what are you going to do about it? And so with coaching, my entire approach is every single one of the people I work with, Steve, is unique. They have a unique history from birth to how they are, how they look at the world, what they've been taught. With that, how are they going to maximize their next steps? So the answer is going to look different for everybody. And one of that avenue and paths include looking at every part of ourselves that makes us afraid. And you touched on something, another element that's kind of fundamental to my approach, which is the mind, which includes the subconscious. And subconscious is a tiny little part of it. So our mind has three elements to it, Steve. One is the cognitive, the brain and the neurosystems that go with it. And then you have the emotional element of it, which is the heart and all the nervous system that goes with it. And then you have consciousness, which includes three layers. One is the conscious, which is our primary, what we are aware of right now, high level. And then you have the subconscious, which stores all of our conditioned patterns, all of our beliefs, all of the things that we have learned and trained ourselves and we've accepted as us, right? So that's what that subconscious stores. And guess what's beneath that? The unconscious. That stores our fears. That is our conditioned primal survival space. So that's where reactions come that you didn't even know where it came from. So if we can truly look at ourselves as an integrated, complex being, and work with ourselves instead of fighting ourselves and the world, we can move through it with a lot more grace and gratitude.
Well, we could fill 50 podcasts with everything you're talking about right now and still continue. All of these are so important, even that word fear, which I want to address in just a moment. But when it comes to the subconscious, the unconscious, I've often heard that accounts for about 90%, 92% of our daily waking moments. Therefore, the conscious is only the remainder. So, 8%, 10%. It's all, we're on autopilot. We're on autopilot.
Bingo. So for those of us, and there's no right or wrong way to live. Let's keep that there, right? So there's one of the elements of becoming a stronger, more integrated person is to take that element of judgment that we have and kind of removing that from our system, because that's a conditioned, trained way of us looking at the world. And there was a certain point of time when our survival required the judgment, right? So there is a space where that judgment is needed, but in our day-to-day life, we are not fighting. There are some of us who are lucky enough not to be in a war-torn scenario, right? So for those of us who are not, we need to be looking at the term judgment and going, should we be implementing that, integrating that as part of our daily life? And is it appropriate in the scenario that we are facing right now? So if we take the element of judgment away, then we can look at how it is that what is happening is truly impacting us. And is it a conditioned response that we have?
Would you say that fear holds us back from the majority of things that we want to attain, whether it's a dream, a direction, whatever it is? Ultimately, it comes back to fear.
Yes, I, in my experience, Steve, personal life, professional life, in my coaching, and I have been fascinated by the human mind from a very young age. And I've been watching patterns, and I have recognized that fear keeps coming up as an underlying theme that it almost prevents us from being whole. And if we allow it, if we give it the ability to. So at the end of the day, the fear is not stronger than us. Fear is and again, I have to keep the experience of real scenarios out. I'm talking about those of us who are blessed enough not to be in a very true danger scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our day-to-day life, if we are still conditioned by fear, we have to ask, is it appropriate? Is it real? Is it an imagined phantom that is from our even subconscious, unconscious past. And if you are interested in science, you will know of some studies that show us that even our cells hold memories. That's why when people, have you heard where you
This
have
is,
organ?
I'm just learning that. And I've been hearing that more and more, that
Yes,
everything.
transplants, they have memories. The organ brings the memory to the new person, and they're going, where did this come from? Right.
That I
So
did not hear. Oh my gosh.
yes, so
Yeah.
there's so much complexity to us. And again, these are such
Wow.
concepts that can create fear in people, right? Just me saying this can go, oh my God, that's just, you don't want that, right? You don't want, it's like a loss of control to know that, wait, something that I have no control over could be impacting me and could be driving me is a concept that inherently could create fear. So fear is a space that you really, it's not a space that you just ignore. It's almost one where you almost trace it to see why does it exist? Is it valid? Is it relevant? Is it something I need to do something with? Where is it coming from? Be
Hmm.
curious about it versus ignoring it or just allowing it to run your life.
Do you, when you work with somebody, have those aha moments where it may be revealed? Why do I worry about that? Why can't I just pick up the phone and cold call people? And I know cold
Yes,
calling is, not that popular, although I know a lot of businesses that thrive on that.
but do that.
Yes, but that, or I have friends that do real estate, and
Mhm,
they want to grow.
mhm.
And part of that, especially in this market, is you have to go door to door. Hey, you have to knock on 50 doors on a Saturday or Sunday. And somebody may say, I was thinking about selling my home. Yeah, I'm glad you showed up. Yeah, let's talk about that. It could be worth thousands of dollars to you.
Yeah,
Um, but they don't want to do it. And
yeah.
why? There's a
It's
fear holding them back. When you
yes,
work with somebody, Gayathri,
yes,
do you connect it
yes,
sometimes? The
yes.
aha
It's
moments, like where it goes, where it came from.
yes, absolutely. So as a coach, we don't go into therapy space.
Yes.
So it's more of recognizing what is the reality today. The reality today is that you have fear, right? So we can trace the fear and recognize that the fear is coming from here. But the question of moving forward comes, okay, you have the fear. What is the worst thing that can happen? And what I've seen as a pattern in all the experiences cumulative is most of the time the fear is something so imagined that in real life it is not a feasible scenario. And if you can connect it to why do you want to do this and the value of it, the ROI of doing the actual going and knocking door to door is higher than giving into the fear. Because if you want to
Mm.
win, you take the action, you go, right? So, and what is the worst that can happen? You get a no. And okay, so what does that mean? Rejection. What does rejection mean for you? Why does that bother you, right? I don't like it. Most of the time, it comes down to discomfort. So, the entire space of growth, Steve, is in the space of discomfort. So it is
Hmm.
helping whoever I'm working with recognize that they're fighting their own growth because they don't want to get uncomfortable or they don't want to look at and trace what's causing them to choose some conditioned response. And in some cases, they're not ready for it. And that's the other critical element, Steve, is whoever is ready for coaching, they are the owner of their destiny. So no matter how many self-help books we read and how many therapists we see and how many coaches we see and how many podcasts we listen to and how many those events we go to, it does not matter if you haven't truly applied it because you have decided to apply it and walk the uncomfortable journey that is to go through that change.
I'm in a men's group, been there for about a year, and it was totally out of my wheelhouse. I never thought I would ever do it. Work leadership, community service, and we talk about what makes men men. And we have, every time we do a different tour, we come up with a different standards. And our
Okay.
standards are, and just like six of them, but I'm going to read just a few because it applies to everything you just said.
Okay.
Um,
Tell me.
push, lead, be supportable,
Hmm.
embrace discomfort.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's we're creatures of habit. We don't like that
Yes.
discomfort. It just doesn't sit well. And what comes with discomfort? Fear. We're back to that word.
Yes.
Pause
Yes.
button. Let's press it. What
Yes.
got you here, Gayatri? You have this
I
fascination with the human mind. How
It
did this happen?
started from when I was very young. I befuddled my family, I have to tell you,
Hmm.
because they could not tell where my thinking was coming from, because I was always the one that gravitated towards differences, gravitated towards understanding why the exact same scenario creates very different responses in people. And what is that? The scenario is the same, but you could have 10 people looking at it and have 10 different takeaways. Why is that? What creates? So that was the way my mind worked from as long as I can remember, right? So I'm always been looking for patterns, and I, I, and so for me, it doesn't matter where you come from, what age you are, what gender you are. It does not matter. It's like I see you and I'm like, okay, this is how you kind of look at the world. And so if you ask me what impacted me, I started looking inwards at myself, and where I had just gone with the flow and where I truly wanted to be authentically me. And that required me to ask, what is going to happen if I take that path? And then I had my own journey and realizations and recognitions. And then I have always been that person who always wanted to help somebody else shift perspective if it can help them. At the end of the day, they choose whether to take it or not. And throughout my life, I recognized that people would have a response to me which was consistent. I did not think of it that way. Oh, that's a different way of looking at it. I never thought of it that way. And I saw that pattern for years until I got to, I need to start focusing on this, right? I need to start my coaching, and I need to start being able to articulate all of these lessons that I have learned that may not be the answer for everybody, but could help somebody make the shift they needed.
This is where you are radically different when it comes to coaching. And there's lots of great coaches out there, not taking anything away from anybody, but you harness the power of why we do what we do. It's not
Mhm.
about, well, do this exercise and there's accountability next week and I'll see you at 7 p.m. You're helping people. It's almost a little bit like therapy in a good way, in a good way. You're taking the pieces that could come from therapy and applying them to coaching. And it's almost like hitting the, warp speed, hyper warp button and move somebody forward faster. Mask
Yes.
down for you. Here we go.
Yes. Yes.
Here we
Mask
go.
down. All right. Psh.
Question
Didn't have a
coming.
mask on at all, but go ahead.
The imaginary mask.
That's right.
What was your aha moment in all of this? What was the one thing that you realized in your journey that I didn't realize that I need to change that in order to move my life forward?
Mhm. It's for me, it was a culmination. So I wouldn't call one huge
I
impactful
got you.
moment.
I got it.
And this is the scenario for most people. Because I spoke about patterns, right? And if we look back, there are patterns in us. There were moments we saw things, but we chose not to do something about it. But it's all adding up to your story of that moment where you're like, wait, that 10 things that happened, that was a pattern and that was trying to teach me something. What was it? So for me, it was a moment, and at a certain point in life, I recognized I was exhausting myself with how I was operating. So I started learning methodologies. And for me, it was very much mindfulness was this concept, idea that I felt I resonated with the most, because it gave me a way to approach centralizing my system, my nerves, that I could uniquely make mine, right? So I knew if I was emotionally tangent is going emotion, I have to tactically shift my brain. So I started learning concepts to help me. So it became a very reflective exercise for me. And at a certain point, I recognized that I needed to completely look at my world around me, because even with this reflective way of approaching, I was trying to flow in the world based on the structures the world has set up for me. So
Mm,
that is why I was still feeling like a misfit, right? It's like, why am I still feeling I have figured all this out and I'm still not quite moving in a congruent way. There was dissonance in a lot of things, right? So I would approach almost in a very pieces of the puzzle was there, but it wasn't together yet. So it was a moment of recognition for me that I needed to be authentically me, regardless of what I'm facing at all times, truly me. And once I shifted to that, I could see a sense. People who are not right for me fell away. People who are
mhm.
right for me started coming towards me. So there was a lot of changes that was happening, and I was embracing those changes because I could recognize they were right changes for me. So that's why I say it wasn't this one aha
Mhm.
eureka moment. It was definitely a moment where I saw the pattern within myself. I saw what was happening and I did something about it because I chose it. It was my decision. I'm going to do something about it. And then I did it.
Isn't it amazing once you uh, figure out authenticity and
Mhm.
you're closer. I don't know if we're ever going to be exactly, I am the most authentic I'll ever be in my entire life. It's always a journey. But when you
Yes.
get very much closer to it, how you see things differently, you feel comfortable in your own skin. You start
Hmm.
to love yourself.
Hmm.
Yes. The
Hmm.
podcast we could fill with that alone. And what you just said, how people start to fall away. Like they don't fit me. I thought
Hmm.
they did. I thought they offered so much more because I offer them this. No, that's not part of my life. And it's not a bad thing.
Hmm.
It's just
It's not.
it's a
Hmm.
shift. It's a
It's a
shift.
shift. Yes.
Um, Final question. We're just about out of time,
Okay, go for it.
but short answer, short question. Here we go.
All right.
And this is based on some things that you said.
Yes.
Um, you said the word learn a few times. Do you believe that when we deal with challenges or life in general, that there's always a lesson there for us to learn? And that's why things happen. There's a
Yes.
lesson to learn.
Hmm. I do. I recognize the pattern in that. Absolutely. There is an opportunity to peace no matter what experience you're facing. It does
Mm,
not matter what experience you're facing, you can make peace with it. There's one critical element to how you get there, and that is you. You have to decide you will look for that path to that door and walk through it. So yes, everything that I have seen in life, everything that I've experienced in life, the leaders I've helped, anybody that I've supported, all of it, the patterns I've watched curiously throughout my life, I've seen that. And there are some of us who lean into that lesson and some of us who resist it. And again, we all have our journey, and those who resist it, that's okay too. Their path will look different than someone who leans into it and
hmm.
decide to grab that lesson and not use it to penalize others. Use that lesson not to penalize self, but to operate in the world more effectively.
I totally got you. And once you figure that out, and I'm not
Yes,
talking about put the rose-colored glasses on, everything's sunshine,
it's
rainbows and
not.
lollipop.
The world is quite interesting, isn't
It
it?
is. But once you see the opportunity, if we spoke 5 years ago and a situation in my life it presented itself here, 5 years ago I'd be like, oh my gosh, look what's going on, DEFCON 5, what's that? When it wasn't even anything major anyway. But I would think that now I might have a moment of like, oh what? And then it's like, oh, there's an
Yeah, it's
opportunity
okay.
there.
Yeah,
There's an
yeah,
opportunity. See the
yes,
opportunity. And there
yes,
is. It's not just
yes.
feeding yourself
You're, and
BS.
yes, it's,
It's
I
real.
completely and thoroughly see it. And the other element of it is recognizing all of us, the way we respond to the world is our response. It's nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So how you respond and how I respond, there is an element of I can change your response, or if how you respond is because of me. No, no, no. the way you respond, Steve, is because of how you are, and the way I respond is based on how I am, right?
Mhm.
So, and that takes such a weight off of you, because then you are able to allow everybody their journey and we go on ours.
Let's start the journey. How do
Yes.
we connect with you? How do we find you?
Oh, thank you for asking. So I have a site, I have a website. It's www.realize2win.com. Steve, do you have some description maybe you can articulate there for everyone in some sort of script way so they can see it too?
Oh yeah,
But it's
we put it on the screen
perfect.
here,
Love it.
and
Love it.
it's
Love it.
very
Love it.
simple.
So in case they're like, what did she say? I don't have a pen. You got this. Okay,
I'm even
perfect.
just
So
going to
it's
say
yes,
it again because I love your web domain. Realize to win, simple
to
and
win. Yes.
TO by the
Yes. It's
way.
very, and
Yeah,
it is,
realize TO to
it
win.
is, yeah, TOWIN. Yes,
Right.
you're absolutely right. And I also have a podcast, Steve. So it's called Catalyze Yourself. So you can see a theme of how I approach things.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like it resonates
So
with me in a big way.
yes.
All of
So
this.
you come to the site and there's a way for you to uh request a complimentary 30-minute. So it's on my calendar. You, or wherever you find the spot, please schedule yourself. We talk, and that conversation is essentially to see, are we a fit? As you said, there's a lot of people out there being coaches, right? And not everybody who wants a coach is ready for my type of coaching. So it is going to be, are we a fit? And if we are a fit, let's take it further. So if you're interested in exploring that, that's the way. If you're interested in the podcast, what you heard today, I speak more about it in my podcast.
Excellent. Well, I'm hoping in the future we reconnect and there's an opportunity for us to speak more. But
Yes.
until we realize what's happening and what has happened in our past, childhood is included,
Mhm.
you can't win. So you need to realize to win.com. Wonderful having you here today. Love you, the insight on everything. And I appreciate it. I really do. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been a great opportunity for me to do some mind share, and I love it when I get the chance to. So thank you, Steve, for bringing me on.
That felt good, actually. No, your emotional intelligence is amazing, and I appreciate it. All right, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.